is going.
But next time, I want us to get a picture of Remy under the bench, under the piano bench, and you post that wherever, and say,
This is how we know the weather's bad.
Goes, when there are tornado warnings out, and and then show a picture of her under your desk and say, and this is her regular spot. So when she gets up and leaves there, then we know it's okay.
Also, it seemed part of me is still 12.
Oh.
I can believe
I ran into that.
Wow. That's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. Like, the surname is bad enough, but that series, that acronym following it.
I know there are 3 of them. But he's the only one with a matching surname.
Yeah.
Okay, don't step backwards. You won't step on a cat, but you will step on me.
Thank you.
Apparently it was Seilert, not Ridlin, that gave me that time.
Ah.
This is a letter from December of 1993. Daniel was recently started on Seilert. However, after one tablet, Daniel developed significant nervous system reaction with some unusual behavior and confusion. In my opinion, Daniel should not be placed on any type of medication such as Seilert or Ritalin for treatment of his attention problems.
Now wait. You said you displayed unusual behavior?
Yeah.
Different unusual behavior?
I thought it was
meds
Ritalin
than
or that one thing that's like Ritalin, Adderall.
Adderall, yeah.
It wasn't Adderall, it was something called Seilert. Which is clearly a trade name, not the actual company.
Yeah.
But
Something called Cylon.
I remember that somewhat clearly. I felt like I was doing a better job of paying attention to the work.
Yeah.
But I was getting incorrect answers for basic arithmetic problems.
Oh, wow.
And I kept breaking the pencil lead. On a non-mechanical pencil, like ordinary pencil.
Yeah.
And I was just like accidentally pressing so hard it kept snapping the lead and sharpening it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that definitely doesn't sound like
Scared the heck out of my mom.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I didn't realize anything was wrong until after it wore off. I saw an answer. Like, wow, those are wrong.
Yeah.
I don't have to take that again, do I?
Somebody, when Mark was in elementary school.
I now have a gigantic brain. Oh, cool. Does that mean you're smarter? It means I'm stupid faster.
Also,
Somebody,
this poor doctor.
I can't. Can we biggerize it? Oh. Jerry Dickman.
F-A-A-T. Dickman do fap.
Yep.
Well,
but yeah, somebody said, I think you ought to have Mark's doctor check in for ADHD. And I had a doctor's appointment, a day or two after that. So I just asked my doctor, I said, one of Mark's teachers is of the opinion that he might be ADHD. And he grabbed the prescription pad and wrote down the name of a book by like a preacher or something. How Jesus can help you with your ADHD kids, something along those lines. That wasn't the actual title, but he was telling me that no, almost all the kids, it's just a discipline issue. I was so mad at this doctor because there was no discipline issue with Mark. He, you know, you could explain to him, you know, you can't do this, and he'd say, got it. And, you know, I mean, he didn't sneak around and break rules or anything like that. But this doctor wanted me to get this book about how
Also, even when kids
the Lord was
are
going
like
to,
that, that's not the cause of the ADHD symptoms.
Yeah, yeah.
That's something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably from living in too strict a household and starting to chafe against all the,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there probably are folks, you know, wanting to drug their kids to make them a little bit easier to handle. Or the teachers who have, you know, 36 kids in the class and they absolutely should not have more than 22. And so the only way the teacher can not go bonkers is to drug them so that they...
Well, I was thinking more like, if you're too much of a disciplinarian, you're inevitably going to discipline the kid for something they didn't do.
Yeah.
It's inevitably going to happen
And
repeatedly,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to grow resentful and defiant over it.
Yeah. And say, well, I'm
Like,
going to get in trouble. no
obeying the
matter
rules
what
is
I do,
pointless.
So I may as well do what I want. Since,
Apparently, parent is just a jerk.
yeah.
I'm gonna break and eat things now. Maybe not in that order.
I can see where, you know, teachers would
And we're on.
Yeah.
say, have your kid checked out. So, you know, to give them a little bit of a break. But,
Oh, Paradox Week.
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, therefore, overdiagnosing ADHD.
Apparently, Paragons has a few minor bugs. Well, just glitches, really. Really funny ones.
Paragons?
Yeah, Galactic Paragons. It's the new expansion for Sunless.
Ah, okay.
Leaders got a lot more interesting. If you have
Oh,
Paragons, you
there it
can
is.
grow them, and you have like some cool story adjacent stuff with them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this admiral who shows up, and he has a bunch of cool effects, including something called the Kidnapper, I believe. He's got a 20% chance of stealing... Or is he a general? I think he's a general. Yeah, 20% chance of stealing pops from planets he invades.
Hmm.
There was a slight mistake.
Oh.
Instead of 20% planet pop yoink chance, it was a 20% empire-wide chance.
Oh dear.
So instead of getting about a fifth of a world's inhabitants, you would get all of them usually. And they would be dumped on a random world of your own. So you'd come over to like some new... You'd invade someone, come over to a planet you've just colonized, and there's 42 prisoners with jobs on it. And nowhere near enough housing.
Oops.
Like, oh dear. They get a governor that has that trait where they build things faster and cheaper. And build a lot of city districts to stop the riots now.
Mm-hmm.
And industrial districts and mining. These people need places to be.
And to do. Anyway, good evening, Internet.
It's like that or make all these Xenos lives hard.
It is 9:30 p.m. on Thursday, May 11th, 2023. Welcome to Thursday Thanatopsis. I'm your host, Mark Amsright, DJ Amstrack. That's Daniel. Sorry for the late start. There have been tornadoes in the area. I wanted to wait until we were pretty sure we wouldn't have to seek shelter.
I can still hear distant sirens
Yeah, there
from
are
other towns.
yeah, there are sirens going off in adjacent counties. But the worst of it is past us. So we are okay, at least. Tonight we're going to be continuing Sunless Skies. Where the hell is my cursor? There it is.
No theory.
That's a long way off.
You left your cursor with the Eagle Con. That was a mistake. Yeah, apparently lithoids make for interesting livestock. They produce minerals instead of food. So if you wind up with a planet full of lithoid slaves you didn't want because your crazy general stole everyone from a lithoid empire you were invading the first 2 planets of, and they're all on one of your planets, and are horribly overpopulated, you can turn them into living mines.
Yeesh.
Solaris, the war crime simulator.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's that. I still need to do... what are my officers doing?
Pull up into Spade.
Thursday, Thanatopsis.
Mm-hmm.
In May, I think they're on, that's like
It-
having your
We've done
Christmas
worse.
Oh yeah.
still up.
It's yeah. I think this past week was Half-a-ween. That's on my mind because Mabry tweeted about it. They celebrate that.
Okay.
Mark, I think that's called Snake.
Daniel.
Snake joke.
I think you need to stop calling it Thanatopsis, though. I realize you started playing this at that time.
Yeah, but this is a pretty spooky game, especially at the parts I'm at now. Like Eleutheria kind of freaks me out.
Oh, just wait until you get a little further in someone else's story.
What is the dog called?
The inadvisably big dog.
Nothing can be scary with that. What is that fella squalling
The
about?
useless cat. I think he's just yawning.
He's not good. He falls off pipe things. He
The-
gets stuck in vents. He sits at the exterior hatch and yowls to be let out. He's yours, though. I suppose. Useless. That's her.
Why would he want to be let out the exterior hatch? It's dangerous out there. This is a space train. You're a cat. You'll freeze.
I love the ratty stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the ratty gay.
Yeah, they're causing
Uh-oh.
twice as much havoc.
And there's another
Hey
kid.
Daniel, would you position the chair?
She has 3 of them, and there's something wrong about them.
All of them?
Yes. They
Like-
don't talk, which for some reason is abnormal.
Yeah, London cats tends to be talkative
When they want to.
when they
Is
want
it
to.
okay to lower that down, or?
Yeah. They
Now we don't have to worry about her.
they inspire dreams of the ancient Egyptian afterlife,
Wow.
and they also apparently weigh a lot more than it looks like they should.
Look like, yeah.
Yeah, they feel like enormous edifices of stone. Like they're not cats, but sphinxes.
But they're on her shoulder?
Yeah, that it might be different when they're interacting with her.
Oh yeah, and they seem to be trying to kill her at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're specifically a curse on her. Because we... Oh yeah, I got notes.
Yeah.
I got the notes. I got the notes.
The
I
only
think it's on this side.
no, it's on the other.
Oh, really? Yeah. Bomb thieves of Xanthus Moon. I should probably just replace that. Like, Xanthus Moon sometimes wants bomb thieves.
Mm-hmm.
Not always. That's not actually like a task that's on our list. It thirsts.
Okay.
Search for Langley, favorite armchair in the lounge, friend in the yellow dining room, cook in the kitchen.
Piranesi. Still need to find.
House of Rods and Chains is to the southwest. Yeah, Princess wants to go to Piranesi, as does the cat engineer, and Cleveland wants to go to the Fort of Souls, but that's another kingdom we'll get to later. And we finally have the cool engine.
Yes.
And I think we might have started the quest for the super engine. Which, admittedly, if we don't like, we can just replace with another copy of the cool engine. I think you just buy another trip sucker. If the Devourer is not to your taste. That sounded very ominous, didn't it?
Hmm.
If the Devourer is not to your taste.
Finding a captain in the marsh in Aklis. House of Rods and Chains.
Oh yeah, we chickened out in that.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I forget if I put that right last time. But, pretty much, if you go crazy in the marsh, nothing bad happens. You just wind up leaving
Okay.
and not being able to go back for a couple of days.
An experimental engine.
They make it seem much more dangerous than it is.
We need a Griever Soul and 7 casks of gemstones.
Oh yeah, here's what I said.
And again, Piranesi.
You know that. Cool engine. Screamers. And 7 dang gems.
Dang gems.
And I believe you still need to like take gems for a thing. Doesn't someone sell on gems?
No, I delivered those.
Okay. So your gems are probably 2? You have 2?
I think I have 3. Yeah, 3.
Fun fact, that scary thing that you beat up, and there's an option to pry out its eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the repeatable ways of getting them.
Oh.
I thought they were Blue Kingdom exclusive, but apparently they hang out by those voids.
Hmm. Okay, going to make my way to a bank. And deal with clouds on the way. Might swing through here just to see what's there.
Yeah, you made yourself a new Albion, really, haven't you?
Well, we've made half of it.
Yeah, the other half is under construction on this side. Which is like alright, bring stuff to this side or you gotta
We bring it to the other side. Out of my head.
Oh, and there's one of the guys that get jumps on there.
I don't like fighting them, though.
Oh yeah, what's the button to turn your headlight off?
I don't know.
Is it H? Maybe L?
Ow!
That seemingly did no damage.
Oh, good. Where are you?
Yeah, she's fluttery.
No, it's that same invisible bullet.
Have you tried the H now?
That's H. It's L.
Yeah. I don't feel like fighting Dowser, so yeah, you can tap L to get them. Of course, just like on Z, you turn your lights on, your crew gets moved. Or you turn your lights off, your crew gets moved. It might have actually said on instead.
Yeah, you did. Ah, a light.
What?
I was making fun of what you actually said.
Oh.
Alligator. Are scraps of ancient knowledge good for anything other than trading for Eleutherian mysteries? In the meantime, I'll store stuff.
Scrap picture. Sir, of hidden learning. Recovered from me in the library. So dot off your animal bonfires on each. Ooh, you can get 7 for a senior swimmer. Oh. Okay, if you take down a strong spinster and have 7 of them, you can get a Searing Enigma.
Oh, okay.
seeking an audience with the lamentation of mists, whoever that is. You can trade it in. And you can pay the cow loquacitory in antique reading matter. Spirit of a litigator.
Okay, time to explore a little more, while heading in the general direction of Aklis. Aklis. Plunder. The cargo hold has been cleared to make room for a weathered stone altar, presumably salvaged from some forsaken ruin. A pig has been butchered on it, and the organs removed, handled, and arranged elaborately at the altar's foot. Haruspicy is popular in Eleutheria, where people say the future is closer. This stone knife and bowl, attached by a chain of amber rings, are certainly of old Eleutherian make. You retrieve them, clean them, and return to your engine.
Ew.
A worldly artifact, a mystery, 5 terror, and a dowser plaque.
Seems like you get them from senior scriptures.
You can also find them in libraries. Oh, hey. It's a thing. It's a dead thing. Oh, several of them. Extract the Griever's soul for the diabolical contriver. You order your driver to get as close as possible. It isn't easy. In its dying throes, the Griever vomits up old, semi-digested spaces that it devoured long ago. One moment it is mere yards away, the next a mile. The petite devil who the contriver assigned to assist you opens an exterior hatch and unwraps the implement she brought with her. Usually the instrument used to extract a soul is the size and shape of a tuning fork, but this one is the length of a billhook and triply pronged. She thrusts it into the griever's maw, twists, and drags out a soul like the memory lightning leaves on your eyes, jagged, ghostly, and sharp. She wrestles it into a bell jar. Yeah, let's prepare. Excavate its digestive system.
Which is ironically much safer than digging in its throat.
You'll need the proper equipment and a firm stomach of your own, but the oldest, most valuable things it devoured will be buried deep. Success. Rather than soil your engine with viscera, you perform your investigation out in the sky. The griever's stomach is impossibly cavernous, but a smaller organ attached to it, about the size of a pig ready for the butcher's block, seems swollen. Cutting through the muscled membrane, you find gemstones rattling inside like a pocket full of gallstones. Hello, what are you doing here? Got a pocket full of gallstones. Yeah, let's get a little more prepared. 15. Very good.
Yes.
Replacing the gaskets and sealing crack pipes.
Sealing the crack pipes.
Cracked pipes. I did say crack pipes, but... but I was just being silly.
I have sealed away your crack pipe. You shall smoke no more.
Oh, hello.
Face.
Get wrecked.
Send out crewmen with asses. You and the creature's corpse with your axe.
A herring.
Oh goodness. Just do shoot, the thing really wants to do lumps.
Ground
No,
pound?
there. Yeah. Just ground pound until like bits of wood flake off. For some reason I was coming up with hip press, which is the exact same thing. But not the term I was looking for.
hey, it's one of these things.
Here you're going to let it live.
Huh? It insisted. No, it insisted on attacking me. Right.
Like, we were going to, like, leave it be and let it charge by and derp off into the distance, but... Yup, it slammed into the broadside stern and just kind of lined the guns right up with it. Yeah, new spike.
Another battle taking place at the monastery gates. Da-da-da.
I'm just seeing pipe wrenches.
What have they gifted me? Souls!
Why do children have that?
Ah. Sure. Amberly Murgatroyd's assistant looks irritable as she digs through the tea with her hands. I don't understand. Where are the microfilms, the manila folders? She sighs. Never mind, we'll sell it anyway, I'm sure.
Oh, they wanted tea, not tea.
Mm-hmm.
They should have said.
Report. Let's see.
You've tried the 3 T's, I believe.
I have. Midnight connoisseurs are extremely choosy about who gets to savor the tea here. The ritual comes easily to you. It begins with a cup of mere hot water, sipped to clear the taste buds. Midnight connoisseurs bring forth a bowl of embers on which to heat the ceremonial bronze kettle. You wait, eyes averted from the kettle so that it may boil, while your host prepares the implements. The silver spoon, the receptacle of milk to be turned down politely in accordance with both taste and tradition. A small chocolate biscuit perched aside the saucer to be greeted with the classic mantra, "Ooh, lovely," and devoured in no fewer than 3 bites that leave behind no trace of crumb.
How unnecessarily British.
Finally, the tea is poured. It carries the taste of lost love with a bitter aftertaste of the happiness that came before. The first sun of spring and the last bell of Christmas. That is the first sip. It is customary to wait at least 5 minutes before taking a second. Huh. Something calls to you, you feel it in your head, it stirs through your memory, sifting for every forgotten pain, every pang of guilt, every regret that ever rose unbidden. Or you hear nothing, nothing at all. If you did, it was just a passing fancy.
Huh. Weird tea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's causing the second sip to taste much different,
Mm-hmm.
presumably. The sky calls to us. If we do not destroy ourselves.
The host remains silent. You continue drinking your tea. After the last drop is gone, sleep comes easily and comfortably. For a moment, the world seems no less cruel, but endlessly more endurable. Something in the back of your mind caresses the bad memories, and soon they melt away into pleasant dreams. You awaken on a soft patch of leaves and fungus, staring up at the high monastery walls from inside. There is no roof, just a gaping hole from which you can just glimpse Eleutheria's black sun, carving its increasingly familiar hole in the heavens. Your head throbs, not the pain of a headache, but something deeper, the sense of something digging for something. Regrets, mistakes, thorned vines twisting deep into your darkest memories. There is only one exit from here. The walls are too slick to climb. The call comes from deeper in the monastery. Knee-high ruins mark the echoes of buildings that have long since given way to time. Vines stretch everywhere, pushing through masonry and lying strewn across the makeshift paths. A handful of silent monks wearing animal masks tend to glistening fields of fresh tea. Some water, some pick, all ignore you as you stumble around them, under siege from old regret. Little remains of this place but its high walls and the outline of ancient chambers in lingering glass and stone. Gaps and crystal lenses in the wall help focus the limited light in a way that suggests a glorified greenhouse, with the ground thick with strata of dead flora packed as hard as concrete. Masked monks in hempen robes move unhurriedly about, tending to fields of tea in the ruins. Each group tending a field wears a different mask. A fox, a rabbit, a wolf. They hum in unison, an atonal melody that still echoes somewhere in your aching head. The monks ignore your presence. They water the tea, they pick the tea, they place the tea in baskets for other monks to collect and convey to the port. I'm curious enough. Like, normally I wouldn't, but... The monk barely reacts as you lift up the mask. Underneath there is simply a human face, calm, at peace. No vines flowing from empty eye sockets, no hideous welted skin that must be hidden from the world. The monk regards you with a placid look and lowers the mask, resuming his humming and his work.
Okay.
Sample the tea. Few get to taste it. Even fewer get to taste it this fresh. Each field's workers bear their own masks, and the tea each group grows has its own distinct color. They do not object to you picking a couple of leaves for yourself. Sample the wolf tea. Its leaves are the darkest, glittering softly. You place the tea leaf on your tongue. Fire, cold fire, the predator, the stalker, the final drink at the end of a long night, the click of the lock, the control of stick and rope, the rush, the cold that follows, a hatred turned inwards, an escape into midnight where sins are absolved, the wolf muzzled, never to hunt again, the wolf leashed in the darkness, growling and awaiting its chance to break free. Sample the fox tea, red leaves browning as they grow. You place the tea leaf on your tongue, the taste of ash, of words unsaid, the cold corpse in the bed beyond recrimination or apology, the guilt of the abuser's silent partner, their crime being the choice to look away, again and again until ignorance was no longer a blanket. Every last word said in anger, and every naive conceit that regret owes anyone a second chance. The whisper of what could have been, curled up in the darkness of midnight, and drowned by its depths. Sample the rabbit tea, a dark green leaf edged with purple. You place the tea leaf on your tongue. Bitterness, a twisted heart, a train pulling away from a station for want of the right word at the wrong time. The ashes of the flame that burned away everything that mattered. A true love's kiss seen shared with another. The fear that paralyzes, the fear that welcomes the darkness of midnight, where disappointment has no lease. The vines stretch onward into a bell tower. It is one of the few recognizable structures remaining. All the vines seem to converge here. You enter the darkness inside and climb up the crumbling, rickety steps. Bits of rock and loose pebbles rattle down the stairs behind you, and you are forced to press against the masonry to avoid losing your step. When you reach the top, even the low light of the bell tower is suddenly blinding, the writhing light of the sun obscured by an immense, black-leaved plant. Its black and purple leaves drink in the light, its green vines pulse, spreading throughout the monastery. The floor is ankle-deep in a mulch of fallen leaves, winking with the odd radiant flower. Your head pounds, your memory paging through pain and regret faster than a demented zoetrope. The midnight plant rustles, its flowers puckering for a moment. It extends a vine, thorned, bloodied. Huh. Interesting. I need a snack. Excuse me for just a moment. Taking the vine seems like it could go either way for me.
Yeah, it looks like you probably don't want to set on fire. burning down the whole plastic. Losing one affiliation bohemia and getting fermented.
Huh. Okay. Fine. The thorns dig into your flesh. The vine wraps around your arm. Your vision fades. Darkness. Silence. A heartbeat. Yours. The hour of deepest regrets. The midnight plant wraps its vines around you, its sharp thorns working deeper into your sleeping flesh. They lick at your mind, taste your memory, savor your pain. On distant vines, old griefs birth fresh flowers. Think of the monks below. Are they trapped here? Why would midnight do that? They are free. They may leave if they wish. They simply choose a life without suffering or remorse. As a chef puts a part of himself into every meal, so do they imbue the leaves they tend with their deepest regret. Midnight fills the void with its song. Why would a plant sell its leaves like this? Midnight knows it intimately. There is value in pain. Midnight knows it intimately. They have been adversaries, comrades, master and apprentice. It is not clear which one is which, just that it flourishes in the plant's purple leaves. Not the pain of torment, the empathy of pain, distilled, shared, offering the liberation only the night can grow. Favor for those who might grow from it. Midnight's song to those who remain trapped in a cage of their own making. I feel like I need to introduce Midnight to the rose. And to Caroline. Think on the word liberation. Something is concealed behind that word. The liberation of night, a crusade for others to proselytize. But would it not be unethical for midnight to watch a man burn when it might so easily extinguish the flames? And what are the judgments, if not damned to burn brighter and longer than any in the carrying out of their laws? The pain of a sun is a mighty engine. What brought you here in the first place? The echo of a kindred soul, perhaps. Midnight has seen much. You will see much more. There will be pain, but in the tongues of old, pain can be merely another word for alive. The vines wrapped tight around your wrist have stretched across more worlds than most can count. They have seen that there are some that the universe breaks upon its anvil, and others on whom even the stars themselves may be shattered. For those, it has a different song. It is one that midnight might whisper into your ear in a place far from here, once you have fully seen what you are in the dark. Even in your dream, you feel its grip weaken. You're waking up. Midnight's grip tightens around your mind. So few have heard its song. So many fewer have tasted its favor. It was not always so small. Its vines stretched across the stars themselves. They yearn to do so again. But the universe is slow, and people are so unpredictable. Should its disciples spread its call throughout the stars once more? Yes, no, fire. Hmm.
Well, fire is the same as the previous fire option.
Yeah.
There's nothing but smooth talking emotional damage. So what you gain is the same for yes and no. Yes, however, triggers midnight spreads. Which may cause shenanigans in Meritroid's Golden Tea Shop. Pout? I badly misspelled plant.
I wouldn't mind causing her some shenanigans. That's not supposed to be a euphemism or anything. That's just... She seems unpleasant.
What about Chris says, yes, no, hell no. Yeah, both get you the same reward. Yes, triggers a little more story shenanigans. So I think we know what we're probably gonna do.
More story shenanigans.
Woo! Weird shit.
Midnight's presence fades along with the light, your answer still hanging in the air. For a moment, you fall into nothing. Then there is a sharp pain, and another one in your ribs. You open your eyes to find yourself lying outside the monastery gates, a pair of ringbreaker urchins prodding you with brooms. Huh, told you they was alive. Owe me a chocolate ration, you do.
Ow! Alright, kids. Sit down with the Hokadook.
Your incense streaming quality is now 2391. Alright. Marshes. Let's see if we can find that guy. Stick to the water.
Go through.
Continue through the marsh. The swamp slurps at your boots. The mist makes it impossible to gauge any real direction. You might have been turned around 100 times and never know it. Follow the currents. The remnants of an old bridge stretch into the mist. Most of it has already been taken by the mud. A stone pillar stands proud nearby. It has no markings on it, no symbols, and it supports nothing. Nevertheless, it remains. You're starting to feel a little fuzzy. I feel fuzzy. An encounter. Something looms out of the marsh mist. A siren without a rock. A mournful figure of chipped glass, cracked and shining in the light. She gazes at you with a quiet helplessness, beckoning you closer.
Is she handing out swords?
Hit.
An encounter. Yeah, encounter can potentially be the last captain. You might run into Amberly if she's been banished to the marsh, which can happen apparently. It's highly amusing. What's up here? This is bad territory. Ah, yes. Seriously. Ow. Okay, you know better if protests seem to have the same effect, but protest is much more amusing. Radioactive monster is always female anyway.
The naked lady sits patiently as you complain about the gender politics of mythology, the unfortunate interplay of sexuality and vice, and the equal insult such things are to the males of the species treated as unthinking sexual omnivores, and to the females reduced to mere passive decoration for the sake of such a tawdry social gaze. Why, for instance, is the succubus endlessly more represented than the incubus in all the literature? What does it say of the human condition that beauty has been linked to damnation by temptation from the moment of Eve's sin? And from where did the double standards... It is a fine speech, even if in retrospect you remember that its only audience was actually a small frog interested in the flies buzzing around your muddy clothes. Rabbit, it agrees, hopping off into the marsh to carefully ponder things.
At least the frog agreed with you.
Mm-hmm.
They probably had to deal with her in the past. Their buggery says, have some meditation, monster.
An encounter.
They bleed tears. Her again.
She nods sadly, but with understanding. Follow the water currents. Time passes.
Too peaceful.
You hear music in the distance. The music of Albion. The music of home. Okay, cling to the tree line.
This probably leads somewhere.
An encounter.
Yay! Ew, stinky.
The meat is tender.
Where's their meat? Wait, what? The air is liquid, the floor is gas.
Poachers in the night. At least that is what their pelts and knives suggest. What they were out here poaching is anyone's guess. They lie dead around their campfire, their wounds apparently self-inflicted. You pick up a few coins that would otherwise have gone to waste before moving on. Let's go north this time. An encounter. With no sun to guide, navigation is almost impossible. From here, you cannot even see Eleutheria's black sun looking down. Your stomach rumbles. It may have been days since you last ate, or weeks. With no day cycle, it can be hard to tell. Your stomach growls. Food. You need food. Your hand. Strip the flesh from the bones. Use the bones as toothpicks. No, not now. Later, once there are napkins. Standards must be maintained.
The captain's going mad in the swamp. Yay, encounter. What? For a moment things are peaceful. In a shank move revelation, you suddenly realize what people see in cricket. How's that?
I say, I do rather think I've gotten a little off course. I don't suppose you could point me in the direction of poor Davon? You do your best to explain to the poor fellow. At the mention of the year, his ruddy face goes quite pale.
Dr. Dumars, I presume.
And not to mention the fact that you're not even in, like, the right solar system.
The marshes are silly. You eventually get the option to go mad, which can cause you to black out, losing 1 to 50 sovereigns. And your insanity is over 26. Or you just wake up back on train. Why were you found running naked through the market covered in rabbit's blood, screaming excerpts from Wagnerian opera? Most importantly of all, what happened to Locomotive's mascot? Why would it come out from the Signaler's spell locker? Wait, which one? We have several. One of them is the little girl. How does she fit? The Reverie says, I hate it when I take a left at a tree and wind up in 2033. Sometimes instead of poachers, you find an incense harvester group. Neither of you can tell who's hallucinating.
Okay, where was I taking the rescued captain? Or was I just bringing him out?
What? What? Okay, you can potentially run into, possibly Vicky?
Huh?
Or you might just be crazy when that happens. It's uncertain.
Probably a hallucination.
This doesn't do anything. Incense and honey. Oh, cool. There's a garden you can run into.
Okay, yeah, that took care of it.
Sovereigns. What a silly time. Lost cap.
Yeah, that was the end of it.
Odd jobs in Ecclestown equals 20.
It's listed as complete in my journal now. Time to explore some more, I guess.
You know, all you got for that was a weird experience in the swamp and 3 crates of munitions.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Even more of those.
What stat does the super bat need again? The Vecchio. Yep.
Ray?
One of these. Oh, great. I misread undeparted as the underpaid. Nope, 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 nope. Fine. Where are you? Where'd you go?
It really does take a while before those are my notes.
Yeah. Hang on. Yeah. 65%. Let's.
Iron check. Don't know what you lose if you fail. I'm already looking something up. Scout. Mr. Manager, scout stall for delicious scouts. Stop eating things.
I'll just harvest its bones.
No eating.
Well, that wasn't much hull.
The Ratronaut. Condemned experiment in a moment of inspiration. And 65 meters.
65 mirrors, okay.
I figured it was mirrors. All these guys are mirrors, actually.
Okay.
First they're mirrors and scouts.
Yeah, it does make sense. There was also a spinster that I just killed. Was.
Scout has 3 attributes: bravery, curiosity, and oblivious.
Well, that's the thing, though. In Eleutheria, everything is darkened anyway. I don't get information about discoveries.
I don't know if that's a binary, if it's tiered though.
Mm.
Because Cavi would tell you. Starsman Bad tells you what kind of thing is found. I'm guessing the Cavi tells you what it's found. Here in the dark, the Bat tells you it's found something. I wonder if the Cavi would tell you what kind of thing is found.
Well, anyway, the high-end bat, though, will find up to 3 things.
The stars. Oh, you mean the Ratronaut?
Yeah, the Ratronaut. once you're, once you've got that.
Regular?
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Was that creature not afraid?
Say what?
Checking
Oh, it's a super spinster. Gotcha. Once the senior scrivener was an ancient servitor of the stars, feared among even its own kind. Now it is broken and hangs haphazardly in the sky like a puppet whose strings have been cut.
Ooh, Scrivener's Ancient Knowledge.
I like that.
Rigging with spiders.
Quick work with the hacksaw detaches the cloak, exposing the spine, which bristles with parchment. You gather what you can. Litanies of dead conjunctions, locations of destroyed libraries, compendiums of the myths of the stars.
So, well, prying out its eyes is a iron challenge of 100.
Thank you.
Like, it's difficult to
Mhm.
succeed at it. It's also not something to chicken out of. Alright, so really, worst thing that can happen is you get 10 terror and 99 plus 1 to 100 and those arms. So, 100 to 201 bucks. Partial success, you get gemstones and 5 terror. Full success, just the gemstones. Gemstones are worth the base price of 300 tons.
Ooh, what's this? Niobe Seclusion. A mansion of immense size surrounded by acres of neatly kept garden. It is tranquil here. In fact, it appears utterly devoid of life.
Hey, found Paradisi.
Oh, okay.
It's on the left.
Oh. Polyhedric sculptures, the dimensions eye-wateringly off. Grass of uniform color and uniform length. Placid canals crisscrossed at right angles, all bisected by a pale gravel path, leading to the door of a broad, ivy-shrouded mansion. Only its lack of windows betrays Piranesi as a prison. Utter silence bar the crunching of gravel beneath your feet. As you approach, you take note of a tiny cottage incongruously nestled beside the mansion like a louse. A curtain twitches.
Incongruously nestled beside the mansion like a house.
Shut up.
Like a house. I'm like a house. Ding, 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 ding. Also, is this a prison designed by MC Escher? Are there sideways stairs?
Those stairs don't look sideways so much.
I think I see a place where you can keep at least one impossible waterfall.
The prison is locked, but the cottage door swings open at your approach.
The cottage cheese swings open at your approach.
The only sound in the cottage is that of a teaspoon clinking against porcelain. A group of brown-robed figures turns to regard you. One, gray-haired, gray-eyed, offers you tea. We are the chaplains, she says. Our role is to help inmates reach egress. You must understand, none may leave Piranesi unaltered. We can be your guide, pipes another. 2 tours per visit. Choose your chaperone and take care to follow the rules.
Glistening deformer.
Gray conformer, glib performer.
Or did Princess Quest?
The incognito princess left a silly old thing in the most secure prison in the skies. She wants it back. When I was a lesser person than I am now, explains the princess as you approach the prison, I had awful habits. I went through a phase that was best described as monstrous. Too much wild red honey, I'm afraid. Perhaps it was all for the best, she says. If I hadn't gone through that awkward stage, I wouldn't have ended up where I am today. However, before I can safely move on, I need to tidy up. As such, it really can't be alive anymore. I just won't stand it. So, we have the candle and a tail. We can begin. She pulls out the candle, places it on the floor, and lights it. She gestures at you, and you start reciting the tale of terror. From the flame's tip grows a large, tear-shaped door of red and orange. The princess claps her hands in glee. Hold this. I don't want to risk ruining it. I fear fisticuffs will follow, she says, passing you her tiara. Wait for my return. It'll only be a few minutes. She skips through the doorway. You stand there with only a tiny flame, an incongruous door, and a rambling, terrifying narrative for company. Soon you're joined by the most dangerous of companions. An idea. Trap the princess? The princess needs you to keep telling this story to escape. Stop telling the story. The troublesome princess, troublesome no more.
But she's been perfectly useful.
And terrifying, but...
Deeply terrifying. Terrifying enough that I'd rather she not be angry at us.
yeah, I agree.
Adventures with beeswax and flame.
Don't trap the princess.
Don't microwave the hamster.
The princess steps through the rift, happy and triumphant, or rather, happier and more triumphant than the usual. She is dragging a leviathanical skin of monstrous appearance. It must have once covered some gargantuan insectoid beast. Oh, I just can't believe I was ever seen in this, she says, working its jaw like a puppet. All fashion seems tawdry with hindsight. Don't worry, it's dead now. I killed it. It is now my special rug. She takes her tiara from you, places it on the brow of the skin, laughs at the sight of it, then returns it to her own head.
Yeah, Vicky's children that she had with the zombie Albert were all monstrous creatures. It seems to include her. But she did the thing that the most powerful monsters have a tendency to do. Cast aside their monstrous form for something more pleasant and useful.
Why do you need a guide? The gray-eyed woman sips her tea. Do not attempt to judge size or distance here. Piranesi is unmapped and unmappable. There are only a few areas we know how to reach. I'll show you the statue garden, says the beard. I'll show you the statue garden, says the bearded chaplain with kind eyes, where I help prisoners achieve redemption. I know the Warrens. Beneath the shadows of the third chaplain's hood, you glimpse a slithering mass of disturbed flesh. He says nothing more. The final chaplain wears round spectacles, but his eyes are gone. His grin threatens to break free of his face. Come with me. Come with me. Oh, please, I am so very bored. Leave the cottage for the moment. Improve skills. Let's put some extra into mirrors.
There's a cat adjacent quest here, too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can call those things cats.
She said that here you would learn about her malevolent cats and why she can't be rid of them. I entered Piranesi as something else. Something vast and inhuman. Something tired. In my nightmares, I remember a cold court, countless statues. I remember the dead prostrate before me as I pronounced sentence. She shudders. I wasn't kind. Piranesi changes you, but it's merciless. I cut off those parts of myself that were false and laid them on the Portian altars. I outwitted the facemonger and chose a countenance of my own. I hauled my better self through the labyrinth of names. I defied the judgment of the moon's locks, and they opened. I emerged, new, raw, happy. The person, more or less, that I'd chosen to be. But the cats came too. She scowls at one, which is clawing at a sapling. I have my suspicions about them. She stops. A stern, gray-haired woman is watching you both from beside one of the sculptures. We don't get many return visitors, the woman remarks. Tea? She leads you to the little cottage. The conformer is stern and brusque, but fascinated by the eccentric and her cats. She brews you strong, dark tea and peppers your officer with questions. Is it really impossible, as the eccentric claims? Oh yes, you can't cast them aside any more than you could cast aside your shadow. They are vestiges of that version of you that entered Piranesi long ago. Vestiges you chose not to keep. For some reason, they followed you out. Perhaps the old you was not cast deep enough into Piranesi. He was notably stubborn. You see, the eccentric says to you, I'm stuck with them. Of course, the conformer says, slurping her tea loudly, they could choose to leave you. Wait, what? The eccentric's head whips around to face her. Why didn't you bloody say so? Inquire about convincing the cats to leave. The conformer said that the cats could choose to leave the eccentric. Perhaps they can be encouraged to do so. This is an unusual case, the conformer says defensively, but these vestiges are, in essence, aspects of the being who entered Piranesi and emerged as you. They have opinions and preferences, as do we all. If you find somewhere they like, they may stay there. Or if you do something they hate, they may leave. Carrot or stick. The eccentric frowns at the cats. How do we know what they like and hate? The conformer shrugs. No one knows them better than you. The tea is finished. You return to your engine. I need to think, says the eccentric.
I'm sorry, that is belch.
Belch. Caged catches. The mirror waters of Eleutheria are smooth on the surface, but often turbulent and dangerous below. A scarred fisherman offers some of his more unusual catches for sale, advising customers of a nervous disposition not to peek into the cages.
What, you creepy fish?
And can just straight up buy gemstones here, and nothing else.
Good to know.
Okay, consider secrets you've learned and how to rid her of Asmodee. Asmodee is a saggy ginger cat, his face scarred from countless fights. When you approach him, he hisses at you, his ears flat back. The eccentric shows you her ankle, livid with a lattice of claw marks. Asmodee is a ball of anger. As if on cue, there is a hiss from under the galley table, and Asmodee attacks your knee. You fend him off. He climbs onto a shelf, his fur bristling. "There's somewhere he might feel at home," the eccentric says reluctantly, "but it's not anywhere I want to go. The White Well in the Blue Kingdom. The things that were cast into it rage against their fate. Alternately, you could drive him away by damping his fury. The attendants at Magdalene's, it is said, can soothe the wildest soul." Okay, so the White Well or Magdalene's. Paimon, an aloof, flat-faced gray, gives you a baleful look. He has climbed into a cranny under the ceiling and won't let anyone near. Could be. Paimon is very governed, the eccentric observes. The gray cat watches you stiffly out of reach. "He never plays, and he doesn't like it when Well, watch this." She comes and sits next to you. Immediately, Paimon jumps up, pries you apart, and sits primly between you. He is aloof and restrained. Perhaps he would enjoy Carillon, where penitents submit themselves to stern punishments and endure them without complaint. Or, to drive him away, I've heard that at Aklis one can buy substances that make fools even of kings and bishops.
Advanced catnip.
Okay, so Carillon or Aklis for him. Scour your charts and discuss how to rid her of Belith. Belith is a gaunt black cat, always pushing himself to the front at feeding time, always sitting where people need to be. Belith barges past you in the corridor. He has heard two stokers arguing. When he finds them, he watches, rapt, with the air of an ancient philosopher king. He's fascinated by their red faces, their bristling mustaches, their pointing fingers and clenched fists. The eccentric joins you. "Belith admires force," she whispers. He would fit in at the floating parliament where MPs push their beliefs into law using words as swords and procedure as nooses. "Yes," the eccentric muses, "I think he'd like that. And I know what he'd find intolerable. Dreams. Those dreams where the rules all change and your strength is useless. The roses of Caduceus could help." Okay, so I'm assuming that that her advancement depends on, or the nature of her advancement depends on whether you drive away or convince to leave her cats. Or whether her cats are driven away or convinced to leave. But I'm not sure which makes more sense, considering they're basically like the spirits of her vices sitting around, you know? Like, putting effort into driving them away, into separating them from her, seems like it might drive a bigger wedge between them. You know?
So she can become brilliant or junk. Brilliant eccentric is full of mirrors, villainy, and bulimia. Choose at least one bold method of getting rid of her cats. Bold methods involve driving the cats away rather than convincing them. Want to get rid of all your cats? Or choose by successfully telling her to misbehave. Or you can make her junk. Gentle eccentric is full of hearts, villainy, and academy. She often speaks to the ancient liquors where it speaks back. Choose at least one gentle method of getting rid of her cats. Those are personally convincing and safe.
Okay, so we can mix and match as we want then.
Yeah, do what you like with whatever cat, as long as you got a mix, and then you got the choice.
The one that gives mirrors seems like the best bet. The brilliant eccentric, just for stat balance purposes. Because I already have a chief engineer that gives hearts.
Yep. The academe would be nice because you don't have a lot of affiliation academe, but you also have like relatively high establishment villainy, and if you get those over a threshold, you get more stuff out of them. Plus, big potato mirrors are useful.
Yeah.
You need hearts for your gun, but well, you've got them now. That sounded incredibly like Saturday morning cartoon villainous.
Shout through the heart, and you're to
You need hearts for
blame.
your gun. Your gun shoots hearts.
Collywobbles.
Oh, I believe you can talk to the princess as well. To progress her shenanigans.
So what now? In the incognito princess's cabin, the poetical suitor and analytical suitor are stripping the skeletons of starlings of their flesh, arranging the bones by type, size, length, and so on. The princess passes time admiring her ring. Eventually, she notices you, and sometime after that, she remembers to speak to you. One final step before the big day, and this is more politeness. I am a princess, of course. She points at her tiara to remind you. So politeness is very much my thing. She needs to find a way into the tomb of the prince consort to say goodbye to her father. Well, that shouldn't be difficult.
Yeah, that's the easiest task I've running, jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Failure, take princess to...
Okay, well, let's explore Piranesi then a bit, I guess.
What?
Hmm?
Why is that thing you can... Why is it like that? If you have learning about the feelings or feeling eccentric situation equals 40, you have an option to share an intimate moment when you offer to help you repair the engine. Repairs the hull by 1/3, it looks like. And reduces terror by 10.
The gallant reformer nods, putting aside his tea and fetching an old iron lamp from a high shelf. Once more onto the breach, he says, with a tired smile. You follow him out of the cottage, up the gravel path to the doorstep of Piranesi. Footprints are worn into the stone. He has no key. He simply knocks on the grand oak door, and it opens. There is nothing and no one on the other side. You follow the reformer into the dark. Piranesi is, of course, bigger on the inside. The reformer's lamplight stretches only so far. You catch sight of dizzying spiral stairways, columns clad in chains, walls grooved by trickling water. The reformer strides ahead, boots splashing in the cold puddles. After a few minutes, you are halted by some toppled scaffolding. Piranesi has 3 rules, says the chaplain, helping you climb over the obstacle. The penalty for breaking them is incarceration, and the unwritten 4th rule is that chaplains are forbidden from explaining them to visitors. So I'm afraid you must discover them yourself. Tread carefully in the meantime. The statuaries are not far now. Watch your step. The flagstones here are uneven. Further into the prison, you begin to see inmates. Faint lights shuffling across distant bridges, hunched figures with lamps chained to their wrists. See those lamps that the condemned carry? Asks the reformer. They impose a distortion of distance. A prisoner's proximity to the exit is determined by how much they have changed since they entered. The more they change, the closer they are to freedom. Some are more mutable than others, and severity of sentence may vary. The reformer raises his lamp over a cavernous well. Light does not reach the bottom. Those cast into the deepest reaches must change beyond all recognition. You stroll with the reformer through a forest of jutting stone limbs and impassive heads. A haunting refrain echoes. Somewhere, someone is playing the flute. Miscellaneous items scatter the floor. A sledgehammer, a toy soldier, a spinning wheel, a half-eaten jar of honey, a canvas. Perhaps discarded by previous prisoners, perhaps provided to provoke or inspire change among those still entombed. Change needn't be bad, says the reformer. I try to help the prisoners improve themselves. The statuaries are but a fraction of Piranesi's whole. A comprehensive report, the reformer insists, would take years. Piranesi is vast, says the reformer. I've been here for centuries and can't pretend to know even half its secrets, but I can tell you everything about this little corner if it pleases you. He focuses on the progress of the prisoners. William has been doing extremely well. I taught him croquet, and he's managed a new accent. Most importantly, he's agreed to meditate daily on his past wrongdoing. I fancy he's near to escape. I wish the same could be said of poor Philomena, who insists on justifying the actions of her past self. Come upon a woman, or something shaped similarly to a woman, in a long brown coat and hat. She sits atop a stone idol where 4 paths cross, her legs crossed beneath her long brown coat. Her hat is pulled low, covering her eyes. The reformer introduces you. This is the venerable flautist, the oldest prisoner of Piranesi. She has been here for centuries. And how has she changed in that time? She pauses her tune. Well, she says cheerfully, so far I've managed to learn the flute. All right. Tell her. A lovely tale. She plays you a tune quite incongruous with the bleak architecture of Piranesi. It rings of honey and sunshine and fills you with brandy warmth. She's been here longer than anyone. She must have worked out the rules by now. I know the rules, says the flautist, but I'll only tell you the second. Don't give names to the nameless.
So no insisting that rock is named Dave.
Shall we begin? The reformer rings a bronze bell. Prisoners gather like fireflies. The reformer moves between prisoners, fixing them one by one with an inescapable stare. For each, he has questions. What are your regrets? What suffering have you caused? Answer honestly. It's the only way you can escape. After that, the questions become specific, forensic. When the prisoner runs out of words, he quickly moves on and subjects another to his relentless interrogation. When he comes to the 5th prisoner, he steps back and nudges you. Your turn. The prisoner shrugs. She doesn't know, or she's unwilling to tell you. reformer prefers to ask prisoners a series of questions, slowly shaping a rhetorical maze that drives them toward a single conclusion. Instinctively, you know this won't work here. Instead, you ask after her family. Has she made her mother proud? Mother died long ago. Sisters, too. Prisoner's eyes meet your own, and she smiles. If anything, she looks nostalgic. We ran an inn. If we liked a traveler's company, we made sure they stayed. Drugged them until they forgot where they were going. If they grew melancholy, we drowned them in the wine cellar. She liked a happy hearth, did Mother.
Yeah, I wonder if softening her up with Tale of Terror would have helped.
Perhaps.
You have so many, and they're one of the more worthless ones.
Yeah. The reformer pauses beside an unlit candelabra and pulls it like a lever. A section of wall rumbles aside, revealing a staircase. A shortcut, he explains. The gallant reformer strides before you, coat flapping, up narrow stairs, over precarious bridges, beneath crumbling bartizans. The architecture seems to have changed since you last walked here, but it's as jumbled and oppressive as ever. You pass a squalling thing clinging to the wall. It lacks structure or substance, except its stark eyes. What was my name? It mules.
Aw. That sounds very sad.
You don't give it a name, sort of thing.
Yeah, tell it a story. The formless thing listens, silent and rapt. Is it your imagination, or has its shapeless paw separated into a 5-fingered hand? At the conclusion, it bursts into tears and begs for another. But your chaplain already grows impatient and tugs you away. It shouts after you, its voice stronger and clearer. The only sound in the okay, that again. Well, let's go with the second chaplain then for our second tour. A knotted, multi-jointed limb unwinds from the glistening deformer's sleeve. With surprising dexterity, he plucks an iron lamp from a high shelf. "Follow me," he commands. You follow him out of the cottage, up the gravel path, to the doorstep of Piranesi. Footprints are worn into the stone. He has no key. He unfurls a notched, scabbed finger from his unpleasant limb and slides into the keyhole. The door opens with a click, and you follow the deformer into the dark.
Static between me and Teddy there, he hopped off, didn't I? I didn't do it on purpose, Teddy.
Deeper into Piranesi, the deformer takes down his hood. Tangled flesh recoils in the cold air. He has eyes in all the wrong places. A dozen different varieties of mouth gulp in unison. Better. Tension has drained from his voice. Welcome to the Warrens. You descend into a brick-walled pit larger than a quarry. At the center stands a colossal column honeycombed with tunnels. The holes so small you couldn't squeeze an arm inside. One gaunt prisoner sits atop a spiked wheel, casually aiming a rifle at the deformer's head. vigilante's progress. Okay. It wouldn't do to have your chaplain's head blown off this early into a tour. The rifle-wielding vigilante is a gaunt fellow, eyes deep-set and gleaming, cheekbones sharp as cut glass. His curly hair would sit much better on a fuller, healthier face. On hearing your protest, he pulls the trigger a few times, generating a chorus of unassuming clicks. Ain't loaded. Burned through my ammunition long ago. Except this. He points at a bullet hung around his neck on a length of string, saving it for a rainy day. You notice the deformer gazing thoughtfully in your direction with at least 3 of his eyes. Perhaps he appreciates your intervention on his behalf, however unnecessary. Guess a hand, he says. Guess a hand, he says. I need to change if I'm to escape this place. No, this is the vigilante. Guess a hand, he says. I need to change if I'm to escape this place, right? But I'm a stubborn fella. Not one much prone to introspection, if you catch my drift. He gestures hopelessly at the Warrens. I need to have a shape in mind as I crawl through, or else I'll just be squished to mush. Any suggestions? You can bring moments of inspiration to help the vigilante think of his new form. Much obliged. I'll be here if you think of anything. You sit beside the vigilante and begin offering ideas. When he likes what he hears, his skin ripples. Skin is so fragile. Has he considered a carapace? Eyes are a weakness when he could taste the air with his tongue. And oh, the possibilities for limbs. He objects to some of your proposals, agrees enthusiastically to others. Finally, his imagination stoked like a fire, the vigilante thanks you and begins to crawl into one of the tunnels. You leave him to his privacy as he threads himself in, inch by crunching and convulsing inch.
Disturbing!
Mm-hmm.
You need respect from here, son.
Yep. I'm not even sure a respec would be enough.
We need to dispose of some cats first.
Follow the deformer. The deformer has stumped off to address a cluster of prisoners clinging to the central column. Haggard prisoners cluster on ledges like gargoyles, clinging by fingertips and tailbones. Most still look human. The Warrens are your salvation, says the deformer. Become glorious like me, majesty and monstrosity, beauty and abomination. One shivering wretch hops down. A volunteer? Asks the deformer in delight, nudging him toward a tunnel far narrower than he is. But on seeing the tunnel, the would-be volunteer changes his mind and backs away.
I don't want to think about it. It'd be easier to use butt cheeks.
Yeah, she said, it's a
deformer looms over the poor fellow. How do you expect to escape here without the will to transform? You offer reassurance and hope, far more soothing than the deformer's sharp questions. Your words of encouragement take a moment to sink in. Finally, the prisoner nods, braces himself, and kneels down. He begins to work himself gradually into the tunnel with a series of agonizing pops and cracks. Some of the deformer's mouths smile in your direction. Well spoken. Following the volunteer's example, a few of the surrounding prisoners clamber down and search for an unoccupied tunnel of their own.
Yeah. One of them is their hole. Sad Mayflower.
Yeah.
See, I would have gone for the low chance mirrors one. Just, like, failure's probably not bad. Just, chances are they probably do need to change more than just their physical form.
The deformer stumps back up the stairs, squelching with every footstep, and you hurry at his heels. Yes.
People.
Yeah. Yeah. What is this thing? It stretches a vague, pleading limb in your direction. It lost its shape and didn't acquire a new one, says the deformer sadly. It has changed, but not enough, and it has diminished far more. Ignore it. There is no hope for it.
That is terrible. Victor Hugo also comments.
Okay.
That's been very easy.
Yep. Now let's start exploring in this direction. See what we can find over thereabouts.
So taking bill of Parliament would be super easy. Yeah, the combination of Parliament and Magdalene's gets you one of each already. Okay.
Whoa. Okay, this is not good. Too much. I do not want to fight all that at once.
Also, be sure to hit the dodge button when you see those whirling things coming in.
Yeah, I was
They hurt.
trying to orient at that point.
Dodging's more important.
I was trying to orient so I could dodge in the most effective direction. Oh, cool. They have this much. Oops. Can't actually land here yet. Oh, hello. There was a Batman. I saw the tip of its wing.
Oh, maybe it's a reference to the one that you drove off when you arrived.
Could be. Oh, come on, really? Like right at the edge of the map? I'm going to come at it from the side so I don't just fly right off the...
That aggressive tactic of flying to its side, tossing your shotgun works pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Where are you? Gotcha. Partial success.
Yeah.
Cool. You work with the chisel, jamming it under the stones and prying them out. They glisten wetly, their colors dark and sullen. All the time you listen to the labored pumping of the undeparted's lungs, working like bellows even though they are no longer connected to a throat or a mouth. You pry another eye free. If it is still alive, can that eye still watch you?
Unsettling.
Yeah. Should probably start making my way back to Pan. With my 3 fuel.
One day we'll find out the Rosin Shakes.
Mm-hmm.
I have to wonder what it is. Is it a place dedicated to, like, animal abuse or something, or to measuring things? Perhaps it change big measures of distance as well. scenes where Black Rod goes for his equipment. Down with rods and chains. Far too short but far too light an anchor.
Brave crewman gathers a flapping clump of pages. The parchment is covered in intricacies of overlapping circles, the pilgrim routes of celestial bodies, spinning around their suns.
Orbits. They're orbits.
It is the hour of arguments when the factions of Pan gather in the Forum to debate and quarrel. The piping of the adamant idol has become a military march. It is the hour of argument when Pan's inhabitants gather in the Forum to resolve matters that can't be settled through a payment, a duel, or a murder. The artists of the Neo-Nocturnal School maintain the Forum. Their sculptures of long-limbed ecstatics litter the stage. I'll take the supplies. Tables at one side of the Forum are laden with spiny burgundy fruit, wizened nodules decide to imagine are nuts and skewers of smoked meats. Pan's groves have learned to bloom in the dark, and the lower territories of the city are overgrown with fertile vines combed by foragers.
Ooh, that gemstones one is tempting. You need 7 for the engine, but when they buy them, that's a good amount of money.
Ooh. Deliver bombazine to Lustrum, and the rewards include a cryptic benefactor.
Oh,
I'll take it.
the Murgatroyd files. The T brought to have information in for straight visitors. But it didn't. Just Murgatroyd can't know that. Sure, let's help Murgatroyds troll themselves. That's extremely funny to me.
Okay. I know we got a late start, but I am very tired all of a sudden.
It is 11:45.
Yeah. So, I think it's about time to sign off. Thank you so much for watching. Would you open the desk?
Nice talking pretzels.
We'll be back Saturday night to continue Transistor. And then next Thursday with more Sunless Skies. Now let's see who is around to raid. Spartan Janitor is playing Sundered. Let's go say hey to him.
He's playing, oh crap, it broke!
So thanks again. Hope to see you next time. Good night, everybody.